Sort of problem which meditation can help us with a lot by being a spiritual mirror to our own well-being.
As the Lord Buddha allowed his monks to receive another robe to solve the problem of rainy days.
Each piece of pleasure never lasts that long. That's why people always reach out for happiness.
When I learned that if you don't say it, they can repeat.
This statue is cast in solid gold, weighs 1 ton.
Sawadee-ka. Welcome to another edition of Meditation for All, a program designed to help guide individuals toward better lives through meditation. I am Sunanpon Rotjan and I will be guiding you through the program. In our mini-series on basic meditation for beginners, Venerable Nicholas Thanisaro will discuss the different sorts of problems which we may encounter in life, all containing the material and spiritual aspects which are to be dealt with differently. The discussion focuses on the ways in which we can employ meditation to help solve our problems. On an individual basis, meditation can be useful in promoting emotional stability, the stability of the mind, patience, encouragement, and efficiency in helping us identify the problems, realize the limitations of rational solutions, and break the vicious cycle. On a larger scale, meditation can help encourage good conduct and the spread of loving kindness by improving the positive vibration in society.
So welcome back to our mini-series on meditation for beginners. Last week we've already looked at the interplay between aim in life and our ability to find time in our everyday lives for meditation. This week we're going to be taking a look at how we can apply meditation to solve different sorts of problems which we may come across in life. Indeed, there are many different sorts of problems in life, both material and spiritual. Different sorts of problems need to be dealt with in different sorts of ways. And if we know only material solutions to problems, if those problems happen to be spiritual ones, then we may have problems. But fortunately, if we meditate, then we have many more approaches than the normal person, which we can apply to different sorts of categories of problems in life. And this week, that's just what we're going to be looking at, the different categories of problems and how meditation can help us to deal with some of those. But what is important, first of all, is that we need to identify what sort of problems we're dealing with. And I think the differences between different sorts of problems will become apparent if we start to give a few examples. Most of the material problems which we come across in life are problems which we refer to as linear problems, which means that one problem tends to have one solution. And if you can get the problem back to its source, then it's very easy to deal with it. For example, if your house catches fire, then you know that the fire can only continue as long as it has oxygen to burn. So if you throw a bucket of water over the fire, then it has no oxygen anymore, and therefore the fire goes out. End of problem. These sort of problems, normally they're not problems which you need to meditate about to be able to solve. It's because they're purely material problems and they're purely linear problems. However, meditation can help you even with these sort of problems, because even though your house may be on fire and there's a logical solution to the problem, you don't need to meditate on it, but sometimes you can get emotionally involved with the situation. If you are upset that your house is on fire, then you may delay about finding the water in time to put it out. But if you are a meditator, then you may be able to have a calmer approach to the problem and to more quickly come to a solution to the problem. So it can give you the encouragement which you need, and it can help to give you the emotional distance which you need in order to solve the problem more efficiently. So this is something where meditation can help us to solve material or linear problems, helping to increase our patience and encouragement in the face of problems. The second thing which meditation can help us to do when we come across problems is to help us realize the limitations of rational solutions to problems. Sometimes the rational solutions themselves, they are not the whole story. For example, if you meet up with someone who's very sad about something, there may be a temptation to get emotionally involved with them again, and you may feel that if you are sad too, maybe it will help them to feel better. But in fact, two sad people doesn't help to make the world a better place. You need to have your own emotional stability in order to help others out of their problems. So this is a second way in which meditation can help you to give you the stability of mind to be able to realize the limitations to rational solutions to problems in life. For a third sort of problem which meditation can help us with a lot by being a spiritual mirror to our own well-being is by helping us to see through problems of which we are a part ourselves. Sometimes when we're a part of the problem, it's the most difficult thing to understand in the world. And on this point, I'd like to tell you a short story which illustrates just how we can become part of the problem without realizing it. And this is a problem which concerns something which you call holy water. Holy water is something which you have in many different religions, and normally it's seen as something rather superstitious, which you sprinkle on things which are giving you problems in order to make the problem go away. And even in Buddhism, we have a lot of superstitious people, and sometimes they don't look any deeper than the superficial effects of holy water. But in our own temple here in Thailand, we once had an example of a woman who was having problems with her husband. And the problem was that the husband would come home late every night, and when he came home, he'd come home drunk. His wife would be there waiting for him, and she'd tell him all about how unhappy she was with the drinking situation. And the husband's response to this problem was to come home even later the next night in order to try to avoid his wife, who was waiting there at the door to reprimand him every day. Eventually, at her wit's end, the wife went to the temple and asked one of the monks for holy water to sprinkle on her husband in order to make the problem go away. The monk, luckily enough, was a meditator, and he knew that possibly the wife had a part in the problem herself. So before giving her the holy water, he said that in order to make the holy water effective, then she'd have to do something quite special with it. And that was, before her husband came in the door each night, she must say her prayers, and she must put the holy water in her mouth. If she put the holy water in her mouth, then it would be holy enough to make the problem go away. So, very faithfully, the wife took the holy water back with her to her home, and that very same night she waited for her husband to come home until sometime after midnight. She heard the gate of at the end of the garden path opening, and she said her prayers very quickly, and she put the holy water in her mouth. With the holy water in her mouth, when the husband came through the door, instead of being able to complain very loudly to her husband about how bad she thought he was, in fact, she couldn't say anything at all. Her husband was surprised, of course, but it didn't make him change his ways immediately. But he did start to think a little bit better about his wife. The same thing happened the next day. The husband came home late, and again he was drunk. But this time, when he came through the door and he saw his wife with a little smile on her face, perhaps, from the fact she was not opening her mouth and she had her mouth filled with holy water, it made him feel that his wife was somehow more endearing than usual. And from that time onwards, he started to come home a little earlier and a little earlier, until in the end the problem went away altogether. Well, again, this is just a funny story, but it helps to show us how a person can unwittingly be someone who is part of the problem without them realizing it. And sometimes by solving the problem with ourselves, rather than just having holy water without realizing what it's really doing to us, this can be the real solution for finding a way out of the problem. The next sort of problem I'd like to talk about is the problem of what we call vicious circles. And in this respect, I'd like to show you a picture which is by a famous artist in Holland called Escher. And this picture is called going upstairs and downstairs, because you can see at the top of the tower there is a flight of stairs, and you can see hooded figures who are walking up the stairs and down the stairs. But if you follow them to see where they are going up the stairs, you find that as soon as they make a circuit of the building, that they come back to exactly where they were before. It's the same for the people going down the stairs. As soon as they make a complete circuit of the building, they come back to exactly where they were before. In fact, it's just something to do with the perspective in this drawing. But what you can see is that those people on the stairs, they're going round and round in circles, getting nowhere, but expending a lot of effort. And this is exactly what happens with many sorts of vicious circle, which is very hard to find a beginning or an end to the problem. In this particular picture, it's only one person who realizes the situation, and that's the person who gets an overview of the whole problem, the one who is off the stairs looking at the building from a distance. In the same way, if we want to solve vicious circle problems, then it's better if we are a meditator. And there are many examples of vicious circles where we have to find the appropriate place to break the vicious circle in order to solve the problem. And this could be an example, which we find in many third world countries, of things like crops failing, and because crops failing, then the peasants have no income. Because they have no income, they can't buy fertilizer. When they can't buy fertilizer, the soil becomes worse in quality, and the next year the crops fail even worse than before. Without an input, in this case, of some sort of generosity on someone's part, then it's very difficult to know how to break the vicious circle, especially if we are involved with the vicious circle ourselves. And maybe closer to home problem, which is a vicious circle, is that of aggression. Sometimes if we are aggressive with someone else, they find it more difficult to forgive us. And when they don't forgive us, they become more aggressive. When they become more aggressive, then we find it more difficult to forgive them. And it makes us even angrier and more aggressive, and so on and so forth. We have aggression which is always mounting in our society as a result. Unless there is forgiveness in this case as a way to know how to break out of this vicious circle, then it's very hard to know how to stop the aggression escalating. Or perhaps a last example of a vicious circle in the context of school is when a child hasn't done their homework, and the teacher becomes more curious about why the child has not done their homework, so the child lies more about why they haven't done their homework, and this just makes the teacher yet more curious about why the homework has not yet appeared. Only in this case, if the child will face up to the truth, will they be able to break out of the vicious circle. Knowing exactly where to break the vicious circle, this is again a subject which is a meditator is much better qualified to do than most people who are working on merely conceptual and linear ways of solving problems. It's the way which we can find a more creative solution to a problem, which sometimes is not in the problem itself, but may be completely separate from the problem. Some meditators have talked about the problem and the solution being as separate as the rain and the rainbow. Sometimes looking at the rain, you'd never believe that rain could give rise to such a beautiful thing as a rainbow, and yet the two are connected. These are the sort of connections which we are able to find if we're meditators, because we have a less linear way of going about finding solutions to the problems. A fifth sort of problem I'd like to talk about is the problem of attitude, and I won't say much about that because we've already heard the story about the Chinese woman who cried every day because of the sons who had the sunglasses factory and who had the umbrella factory. That's a problem of attitude, which if you change the way you look at the world by meditating and let go of negative attitudes, opening up to more positive attitudes, then you can start to solve many of the problems in life which are concerning you yourself. A sixth sort of problem I'd like to talk about is problems which can be prevented and which are better prevented than cured. In our society, most of the problems in society come from people who once upon a time were good, upstanding citizens in our society, but who at some stage compromised their own ideals or their own virtues in order to become unscrupulous members of our society. One way of solving the problems which they are creating is not to let them become unscrupulous people in the first place. And the best way to do that is not by punishing them or threatening them, but inspiring them to remain good. This is one of the works which meditators spend a lot of time doing. It's not a very spectacular work because you don't see the great contrast between before and after, which you see with reforming people who have had a lot of problems in the past. But keeping good people good is a very important aspect of meditation, because you give yourself the own encouragement to maintain a virtuous standard of living and to keep yourself on the straight and narrow instead of having to become a burden on others in society. And this would refer to many sort of problems which should be better prevented in our society, whether it be drug abuse or laziness or corruption. Many of these things could have been prevented if the people were more inspired in the first place. Last but not least, I wouldn't like to leave you thinking that meditators are those who run away from problems, but in fact meditation itself can be used as a way to improve the general positive vibration in society. And one way which we can do this through our meditation is by spreading what we call loving kindness. I'm sure many of you who have meditated have a feeling of well-being when you've meditated. Maybe it's a feeling of well-being which you find is just personal for you, maybe a feeling which is located just inside yourself at your center. But if you're the sort of meditator who can spread that feeling of well-being by what we call spreading loving kindness at the end of your practice, then in fact these good vibrations can help to make society a better place, maybe not in a visible way, but certainly by spreading a feeling of forgiveness first in our own family and then in society as a whole. It becomes a very powerful meditation if you do it very often. So anyone who likes to make a difference to society without intervening personally can try spreading loving kindness as a way to improve the quality of society as a whole. So that is a total of 7 different ways in which we can use meditation to solve problems. As meditators, we're not the sort of people who run away from problems, but we use meditation to find alternative ways to solve problems. So this week we've been looking at some of the different ways in which meditation can better equip you to categorize and deal with the different sorts of problems in life. Try to notice yourself ways in which you can apply meditation to solving problems in life during the week to come. Next week we're going to be concluding this mini-series of 10 by showing how meditation can change society at large for the better. In the meantime, please try to maintain your daily meditation, and if possible try to keep a diary of your experiences and your experiences of solving problems through meditation as well. So see you next time.
In this edition of Buddhist Culture, you will see a Buddhist tradition that has survived since the time of the Lord Buddha. In order to keep the living simple and modest, a Buddhist monk can only possess 2 sets of the 3 robes known as patrai, and is responsible for the laundry, which is normally done by hand. Comes the rainy season when sunshine is scarce and clothes don't dry quickly enough, the 2 sets of robes prove to be inadequate. This is why the Lord Buddha allowed the monks to receive an extra robe from the lay people before the start of the rain retreat. This particular practice has been carried on until today.
The rainy season. A Buddhist monk can ordinarily have only 2 sets of the 3 robes, called patrai. So it is very hard in rainy seasons, especially in the tropics, because the monsoon brings heavy rain almost every day. so 2 sets of robes is not enough. But all Buddhist monks must lead very simple lives that are easy to support. They wash their robes themselves, and always by hand, and not with a washing machine or dryer. As there is no strong sunshine on rainy days, the robes don't always dry. The laymen or women take care of this, as the Lord Buddha allowed his monks to receive another robe to solve the problem of rainy days. The day of this giving is fixed to be the day before the rain retreat, called Asaraha Puja Day. One more robe for the whole season of the rain. Contentment with simplicity is the foundation of inner peace.
Now it is time for us to close our eyes, put our thoughts and worries behind, and meditate along with Venerable Somsak Biyasilo.
Welcome to the atmosphere of peace, the moment of meditation. Life is too short and we cannot get all we expected for in our life. Each piece of pleasure never lasts that long. That's why people always reach out for happiness, here and there all the time. But true happiness and peace start from inside, and of course, meditation is a key and the password to unlock the happiness that has been blocked from blossoming from inside. And here we go, meditation will help us reveal the happiness inside. Now, if you are ready, we just close the eyes so softly. And as usual, we take a good deep breath. On the in-breath, we bring in the freshness to nurture the inside. And on the out-breath, we release all the tensions, all the discomforts from inside out. And relax the whole body. The whole body from head down to the heels. We slowly relax them all. All parts of the physical body are now relaxed. No such a single part that could be remained stressed. Release and let go, as if we are soaked by the mass volume of the stream of relaxation. Recall the station of peace by taking the deep breath again. Follow the in-breath until it ends inside the stomach. This is so-called the familiar, the turning point. And all we do is to bring in, welcome in the mind to stay still at the turning point. This is the station of peace. The mind will be here like it has come home. Spend a little moment in quietness, settling down over the station of peace. Gently, slowly, without any rush of any kind. Remain tranquil and still all the time, all the way, always. Welcome the moon in the mind by a little click inside, the slightest touch, a click, revealing the moon shining in the mind, in the center of the body. Over the turning point shines the full moon. The full moon represents the peaceful mind, as the mind is of a sphere form. And that's why the moon embraces the real shape of the mind. Enjoy the glow of the full moon for a while. The most important person in your life is your own self. You might tell yourself, I am the most important person in the world. That's why we are the first person who deserve inner peace. We meditate over the center of the body because we are the first one in the world to receive inner light. Life is basically not bright unless meditation brings us to the station of brightness and the moon is functioning its inner light at the moment. Allow the mind to stay amid the brightness of the bright moon again and again. Enjoy soft light. Enjoy bright light of such shining moon in the center of the body. Make sure at the moment physical body and the mind both are truly relaxed. Relax again and always during meditation. Enjoy the continuous glow of the moon shining in the mind. And we are right. We are the first person who deserve inner peace, who deserve inner light. So let this moment go on with happiness for a while. In order to gain more sustainable peace and happiness, we have the technique which we have to start from inside. As I told you earlier, normally each piece of pleasure never lasts that long. But that rule doesn't apply with the inside. The world inside is a kingdom of light. It always shines all the time. If we come to visit the kingdom of light in the center of the body often, the bright light inside will reflect to the outer appearance. That's why if you meditate often, if your internal brightens often, such brightness would overcome your external appearances until you reflect the inner light to cover the outside. You always become the body of bright light yourself. Now we have learned, we have discovered inner light for many times. Let the brightness from inside overcome all the darkness of the outside world. Now that we are reflecting inner light to brighten the outside. Meditation is the only key that connects the internal and the external world of being. Now enjoy bright light in this quietness for a little more time. Once we are ready, we can count down from 3 to 0. Take a good deep breath again. It's shining inside, and slowly open up. So life is not in darkness anymore. By meditation, we learn how to gain inner light and get the color. And the color of life from now on is the color of light. The color of brightness is now our color of life. Until we meet again for a better meditation practice, hope you enjoy inner light, the color of life. สวัสดี
Next on our program, Vera will have a little talk with Rose Mipan about a Dhammadayada training program for ladies. The good memories of the program, how the program has affected her as a person and the way that she treats other people around her, and why she would definitely recommend it to everyone.
And so what was the best memory you had of this program?
Best memory? Well, they're all the program is a best memory, but I think was lunchtime. It was fun. It wasn't like it was fun. Like, we talk about different things and like funny things that happened during the day, like memories like random words, or we would go like tell ghost stories and how a car would just appear out of nowhere and it's like in the middle of the night, or how we got scared and like we switched rooms every like 5 days or something. Yeah, I think that was our best memories, like throughout the whole program. There's like no best memory, but the whole program was a good memory.
Did you make a lot of friends while you were there?
Yep, I made like pretty much all my friends now.
Oh, wow.
But like more. It's not like I didn't have friends before. It's just like we got to know each other more. Like, my best friends now I met through the program. And like we got to know each other. We got to know new people from like different states, different cities, San Diego.
So it wasn't just
No.
Southern California.
Yeah, it was like pretty much the area around there.
So this might be a pretty big question, but how do you think that this program has affected you in your life and as a person?
Well, like through the program, they gave great teachings, and like the teachings really affect us in life, like our mother's gratitude or responsibility or how to treat others. It's like all together. It's like it affects you like really good. Like you can tell that it affects each person, because like friends like just like I don't know, they pretty much like through the lecture they sort of cry. Like you can tell they're crying
Out of happiness or
Like-
sadness, or
I don't know, like the teaching like really gets to them. Like the mother one, that really gets to everyone, because
can
like
you explain what it is? Like being grateful to your mother or having gratitude to your mother?
they sort of like extended it. Like it's not like one certain one. it's like they have different mothers come in, and they talk about how much they love their child and how much they went through with their mother. So like pretty much you get to know like from both aspects.
Oh, I see.
And like we watch videos, music videos that have like about your mom and how grateful she is to be your mother. It's
Or
like,
how grateful you are to your mother.
yeah, so pretty much both. And like how much she would like do for you, or how she would like pretty much die for you, like just for your happiness and stuff. And like that really gets to you because like you sort of help your mother more and like think of her every few minutes.
More than before.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So do you feel that having gone through this program twice, do you feel that you've changed in any way? And what were some of the changes?
I'm not really sure about myself. Like, I don't know if I've changed much, but like, I don't know because it's me. I don't know what others think about me. But like, I'm pretty sure like there's one thing that like I've gained confidence in saying like what I want or how I want things to be. And like I used to just hold it in. I'll be like, "Oh, okay, you can do that." Or
But you wanted to say something?
yeah, I want to say something, but like I think it's going to be rude to say it. But now like when I learned that if you don't say it, they can repeat like what they did that was wrong. And they can do more worse stuff like drugs or something. I don't know. Like hurting others' feelings. Like I'll hold it in back then, but then now like I sort of like let it out. I'll be like, "No, don't do this," or all those stuff. Like it affects me in school life too. Like how my friends like would just tease each other, like, and it really hurts the other person.
Oh, you mean in a bad way?
Yeah, like I would just go sit with the other person and be like, "It's nothing. They're just playing with you," or something. But like,
so you go and comfort them.
yeah, and like I would tell the person who hurts the other person's feeling that that wasn't nice or something. Like you could like destroy the friendship that we have here and everything. Like, because it can change everything in an instant.
So it seems like you've become a good friend to both people through this.
Through temple and school and others, like family.
How has it affected you in your family?
It really didn't affect me with my family, but like I mean like I got to know my cousins better, because like I used to like not like talk to them at all. Like I didn't talk to them. Like when I was a kid, I would play with them all the time, and then through like middle school and a little bit of elementary, I stopped talking to them. Never talked to them. Never said hi. None of that. And like the program like makes me think like, what if something happens to them soon in life and I'm not there to help them? It can like be a big effect on them. Like what if I could have changed a simple thing and it could have like made it better?
Right.
Yeah, like that sort of way for family.
Wow, so it seems like you've become a good leader in your family and just with your friends and everyone around you. It's nice. And so, in closing, would you do this program again?
Definitely. It was fun. It gave me lessons, but mostly fun. Yeah, it was great.
What would you recommend to other people? And would you recommend them go through the same program?
Definitely, because like the program like pretty much it's like it gives you everything. You have great friends, you have great manners afterwards. It's not like you don't have great manners before, but like I mean like
even
better. Yeah, better manner, and you get to pretty much know how others feel, because like through one day we have like a paper with your name on it, and it goes through the whole everyone in the program, and they write what they think about you. And you get to know like all these great stuff, or like how
about yourself.
Yeah, about yourself, or how they feel about you. and it's a great, great thing to go through.
You learn more about yourself and other people. Yeah. Oh, nice. So, do you have anything else you'd like to share with anybody?
No, not really.
All right. Well, today we've just talked with Rose, and she's shared her experience, and she showed herself to be a good leader in both school, home, temple, and with everyone around her. So I'd like to thank you, Rose, for coming and taking your time to share your experience with us.
Thank you for having me.
So thank you for joining us, and we hoped you've enjoyed our program. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
Coming up on tour of the temple, you will get to trace the trail of Luang Paw Wat Pak Nam Pasi Charan Sot Jantasaro, the great teacher who rediscovered the Dhammakaya, which had been lost since 500 years after the death of the Lord Buddha, and taught it to the world. First, Vera will take us to Wat Bot Bon Bang Khu Vieng in Nonthaburi province, where the rediscovery took place. It is the place where one of the 4 images of the great abbot cast in pure gold will be enshrined. We will then travel to Pathum Thani province to visit the Panya room at Pratamagai Temple, which houses the first gold image of the great abbot ever cast, to be transferred to the Luang Paw Wat Pak Nam Pasi Charan Sot Jantasaro Memorial Hall when the construction of the hall is complete. That is where we will end our tour.
Sawadee. My name is Vera Rungchagul, and you're on the tour of the temple. Today, I'll be taking you to 2 places of great importance on the route of the great teacher of Vichā Dhammakai. Right here, I'm at Wat Bot Bon Bang Khu Vieng in the province of Nonthaburi, Thailand. Evidence has shown that 500 years after the passing away of the Lord Buddha, the Vichā Dhammakai of the Holy One disappeared from this world. In the year 2460 of the Buddhist era, or 1917 AD, and on the full moon night of the 10th lunar month at this temple, a determined young monk named Sot Jantasaro, later known as Luang Paw Wat Pak Nam Pasi Charan, sat down at this very spot and prepared to lay down his life in meditation. In front of this Buddha shrine, he made a solemn vow, begging for the Lord Buddha to bestow to him the knowledge known by the Holy One, if that knowledge was going to be of benefit to Buddhism. Late that very night, he succeeded in his attainment of Vichā Dhammakai. Vichā Dhammakai brings happiness to all through the knowing of the truth of life, which goes beyond all beliefs and nationalities. People who sincerely practice Vichā Dhammakai will feel the unsurpassable feeling of happiness through the stillness of the mind. Practitioners have expressed their gratitude to Luang Paw Wat Pak Nam by casting his image in pure gold, which will be enshrined in 4 different places, this temple included, on the route of the great teacher of Vichā Dhammakai. But that will be shown in a later program. we've come back to Wat Pratamagay, where this Panya room is the temporary home for one of the golden sculptures of the great abbot of Wat Paknam, who I mentioned earlier. This statue is cast in solid gold, weighs 1 ton, and is 1.5 times larger than the actual size of the late abbot. The temple community decided to commemorate his great life of selflessness, sacrifice, and wisdom in a manner befitting his contribution to humankind by using pure gold. Each day, hundreds of lay people come here to pay homage to Lung Pa Wat Paknam and sit in meditation in this serene room inspired by his grace. People appreciate the feeling of peace and tranquility that they get in this room, and therefore, before entering the room, they turn off their cell phones and any noise-making devices and try not to bring in any materials that might disturb other meditators, such as plastic bags that might ruffle and make noise. Also, they don't take photographs. The quietness of this room allows meditators to meditate and recharge their batteries before going out on their daily routine. The last spot on today's tour of the temple is the Memorial Hall of Lung Pa Wat Paknam Pasi Jaren Sot Jantasaro, the rediscoverer of Wichatamakay. This structure behind me, currently under construction, will be the final place where the 1-ton golden statue of the great abbot of Wat Paknam will be enshrined permanently. This building is also designated a museum that will display everything about the Tamakaya meditation tradition. The hall will soon be open to the public. Surrounding this dome-like structure are lines of pine trees and a mini lake, bringing coolness and shade. Also, the hall is decorated all around by one-of-a-kind sculptures of symbols depicted in heaven. The discovery and teaching of Wichatamakay that Lung Pa Wat Paknam pioneered was thus of incomparable importance to this world, as it is the final path and refuge for all peoples who work and search for peace on earth. Until next time, Sawadee ka.
We hope that you have enjoyed our program. Your questions and comments are most welcome, and please forward them to our email address, meditationforall@yahoo.com. Please remember that practice makes perfect, so please keep up your meditation, and I will see you again next time. Sawadee ka.